My beloved child. There is something you have been sensing for a long time, but you kept ignoring it because your heart always chooses kindness before suspicion. You smiled. You trusted. You believed that everyone standing beside you wanted the best for you. Yet lately, something feels different. Small conversations suddenly stop when you arrive. Certain opportunities disappear without explanation. Plans that once moved smoothly now seem delayed. You keep asking yourself whether these are only coincidences, or whether an unseen pattern is quietly forming around you. Listen carefully, because today is not about fear. It is about awareness. Someone close to you is hiding behind a familiar smile while quietly working against your progress. They are not louder than your destiny, but they have been hoping you never notice the tiny signs they accidentally leave behind. The most surprising part is that they never expected you to become this strong. They believed you would remain uncertain forever. That is why what happens next will completely change the direction of this story. A strange shift has already begun, even if you cannot fully see it yet. The truth always starts with tiny details before it becomes impossible to hide. Think about the recent moments when your confidence suddenly disappeared without reason. Think about the days when exciting news somehow reached everyone except you. Think about the promises that slowly turned into silence. These moments are connected by a thread that has remained invisible until now. Someone has been hoping your focus would stay on your own doubts instead of on their actions. They understand that confusion is stronger than confrontation. If they can keep you questioning yourself, they never have to explain themselves. But something unexpected has happened. The same hidden plan that seemed perfect has started creating cracks. Those cracks are becoming impossible to cover. Every hidden intention leaves an echo, and every echo eventually reaches the person it was meant to avoid. That moment is approaching much faster than anyone expected. Pay attention to what happens after this message enters your life. You may notice words that suddenly sound different. You may remember conversations that once felt ordinary but now carry a completely new meaning. Do not rush to conclusions. Do not accuse anyone. Simply observe. Quiet observation reveals more than loud reactions ever can. The person who has been quietly working against you is becoming increasingly uncomfortable because truth has its own timing. They can control appearances for a while, but they cannot control every detail forever. Soon, one unexpected conversation, one forgotten promise, or one simple mistake will reveal more than months of pretending ever could. That single moment will answer questions you have carried in silence for far too long. When it arrives, you will finally understand why certain doors closed, why certain people changed, and why your path suddenly became more difficult than it should have been. Now here is the part almost nobody expects. The hidden resistance around you has also been delaying something remarkable that was preparing to enter your life. Every setback made you believe you were moving backward, yet in reality you were being redirected towards something much greater than your original plan. The person working against you never realized that every obstacle they created was quietly building your patience, your wisdom, and your ability to recognize genuine loyalty. What they intended as a limitation became unexpected preparation. This is why their influence has already started weakening. The more they try to hold the story in one place, the faster life begins moving it beyond their reach. Soon, someone unexpected will step into the picture with information that changes everything you thought you knew. That meeting will feel ordinary at first, but its impact will stay with you for a very long time. Before this chapter closes, remember one important truth. Not every smile hides betrayal, and not every silence hides bad intentions. Wisdom grows when you learn to separate genuine care from carefully maintained appearances. Over the coming days, your greatest strength will not be reacting quickly. Your greatest strength will be remaining calm while everything slowly reveals itself. The person who believed they understood your future overlooked one powerful fact. They never understood your resilience. They underestimated your ability to rise after every disappointment. And because of that single mistake, the ending they imagined will never become reality. What is about to unfold next is something they never prepared for, because the next revelation will uncover the one secret they have protected more carefully than anything else. Nothing remains hidden forever. The moment a secret begins to believe it is safe, it also begins making mistakes. That is exactly where this story changes. The person who quietly hoped to stay in the shadows has already taken one step too far. They believed no one would notice the tiny differences in their behavior. They believed their words would always sound sincere. They believed they could stand close to you while silently shaping the opinions of others. But every carefully planned act leaves behind a trail. A forgotten sentence. A delayed reaction. A strange expression. A sudden change in attitude. These are not random events anymore. They are pieces of a puzzle that are slowly moving into place. Very soon, someone who never intended to become part of this situation will unintentionally reveal a detail that exposes everything. That moment will feel ordinary to everyone else, but to you, it will answer questions that have lived inside your heart for far too long. There is another truth you have not considered. The person working against you is no longer as confident as they once were. They have started noticing that their plans are producing results they never expected. Instead of making you weaker, every challenge has made you wiser. Instead of making you lose direction, every delay has sharpened your judgment. This unexpected change has unsettled them. They now spend more time watching your reactions than focusing on their own path. They are waiting for you to make one emotional decision. They hope you will react too quickly. They hope frustration will speak before wisdom does. Do not give them that moment. Quiet confidence is stronger than loud emotion. Every calm choice you make quietly removes the power they believed they had over your journey. Something even more surprising is beginning to unfold behind the scenes. Another person has quietly noticed the unusual pattern surrounding you. They have remained silent because they wanted certainty before speaking. They have watched conversations. They have noticed changes. They have compared actions with words. And now they are reaching a conclusion that cannot be ignored. This individual carries a missing piece of the story that you have never seen before. When they finally decide to speak, the picture becomes complete. Suddenly, moments that once seemed confusing will connect perfectly. You will understand why certain opportunities disappeared. You will understand why unexpected distance appeared between relationships that once felt effortless. Most importantly, you will discover that the truth was never as complicated as it appeared. It was simply hidden beneath layers of carefully maintained appearances. Now listen closely because this part changes everything. The greatest surprise is not that someone worked against you. The greatest surprise is why they did it. It was never because you failed. It was never because you were weak. It was because they quietly noticed something inside you that even you had not fully recognized. Your steady growth made them uncomfortable. Your ability to recover after disappointment confused them. Your peace during difficult seasons became something they could not understand. While you were simply trying to move forward, they interpreted your progress as something impossible to ignore. Without realizing it, your quiet determination became the mirror that reflected their own fears. That is why they chose hidden resistance instead of honest conversation. They believed slowing your progress would silence the questions growing inside their own heart. Now the next chapter stands closer than ever before. A conversation is approaching that will completely reshape your understanding of everything that has happened. It will not begin with dramatic words. It will begin with one small detail that seems almost unimportant. Yet that single detail will unlock a chain of revelations that no one will be able to stop. The hidden intentions. The silent observations. The carefully protected secret. Everything will begin connecting one piece at a time. And when the final piece falls into place, you will realize that the greatest victory was never discovering who stood against you. The greatest victory was discovering the strength that quietly grew inside you while they believed you would never notice the truth. The next revelation is closer than anyone imagines, and it is far more unexpected than anything you have heard so far. A turning point has already begun, although almost no one around you realizes it. The person who believed they could quietly shape your path is now facing something they never prepared for. Every hidden plan depends on perfect timing. The moment that timing slips, everything starts falling apart. Recently, they have noticed that people are asking unexpected questions. Small details they thought would remain forgotten are returning. Conversations they believed had ended are beginning again. This growing pressure is making them uneasy. They are becoming more careful with every word, yet the harder they try to protect the truth, the more obvious their discomfort becomes. They never imagined that silence itself would begin revealing what they worked so hard to hide. The greatest mistake they made was believing that appearances could last forever. Every false image eventually becomes too heavy to carry. Something extraordinary is now happening beyond what your eyes can see. While you have been wondering why certain doors refuse to open, another path has quietly been preparing itself for you. What looked like rejection was actually protection. What looked like delay was careful timing. There were moments when you thought you had lost something valuable, but if those doors had opened earlier, you would have stepped directly into situations that were never meant for you. Now those same closed doors are beginning to make sense. Soon, a completely unexpected opportunity will appear where you least expect it. At first, it may seem unrelated to everything you have experienced. But later, you will realize it became possible only because you were redirected away from the hidden intentions surrounding you. Sometimes the greatest blessing arrives disguised as an unanswered question. The person working against you has now entered a season of uncertainty. They keep wondering why their efforts no longer produce the same results. The influence they once believed they had is quietly slipping away. People are beginning to notice inconsistencies. Trust that once came easily is becoming harder for them to earn. They can feel the atmosphere changing, even though they cannot explain why. This uncertainty has made them impatient, and impatience always creates mistakes. A careless sentence. An unnecessary explanation. A reaction that does not match the situation. These moments may appear small, but together they reveal far more than they intend. The truth rarely arrives through one dramatic event. More often, it arrives through many tiny moments that suddenly fit together with perfect clarity. Now pay close attention to your own heart during the coming days. You may feel a quiet sense of peace replacing the confusion you carried for so long. That peace is not accidental. It is the sign that your perspective is changing. Instead of chasing answers, you are beginning to recognize them naturally. Instead of forcing people to prove themselves, you are allowing their actions to speak. This change is more powerful than you realize. The moment you stop searching desperately for hidden motives is the moment hidden motives begin revealing themselves without effort. Your calm presence will become stronger than any attempt to distract you. Those who genuinely care for you will move closer. Those who carried hidden intentions will slowly create distance themselves. You will not need to force anything. The truth has already begun separating what belongs in your life from what never truly did. One final piece remains hidden, and it is the most unexpected of all. Someone you have overlooked is quietly carrying information that could transform everything you believe about this situation. They have remained silent because they wanted to protect everyone involved. But silence cannot last forever when truth continues asking to be heard. Very soon, an ordinary moment will become unforgettable. A simple conversation will uncover a forgotten memory. That memory will expose a connection no one noticed before. When you hear it, every confusing event from the past will suddenly make sense. You will realize that what seemed like random setbacks were actually leading you toward this exact moment of understanding. And when the next revelation arrives, it will not only expose what has been hidden. It will reveal who has been quietly standing on your side all along, waiting for the perfect moment to step forward. The story is becoming impossible to control now. The closer the truth comes to the surface, the more unusual everything begins to feel. You may notice unexpected messages, surprising conversations, or people suddenly trying to reconnect after a long silence. None of these moments are happening without reason. Every unexpected event is connected to a much larger picture that has been forming behind the scenes for longer than you realize. The person who quietly worked against you believed they had already written the ending of your story. They convinced themselves that you would never question what was happening around you. But what they failed to understand is that every hidden action creates consequences they cannot predict. The very path they tried to block has become the path leading you toward the answers you have been searching for. There is something they are trying desperately to protect. It is not only their reputation. It is the fear that everything they carefully built could disappear in one honest conversation. That fear has started influencing every decision they make. They hesitate before speaking. They overthink simple situations. They become uncomfortable when familiar topics return. This change is becoming visible to people around them, even if no one fully understands why. Hidden pressure always leaves visible signs. They may still appear confident on the outside, but inside they are wondering how much longer they can keep everything perfectly balanced. The more they try to appear unaffected, the more obvious their struggle becomes. Sometimes the loudest truth is spoken through silence instead of words. Now something remarkable begins happening in your own journey. The confidence you thought you had lost is quietly returning. You are beginning to trust your instincts again. Moments that once left you confused now seem surprisingly clear. You are no longer chasing every explanation because you understand that genuine truth never needs to be forced. This quiet confidence changes everything. It allows you to notice details that fear once covered. It helps you recognize sincerity without needing constant reassurance. Most importantly, it prepares you for the next revelation, because what is about to unfold requires a calm heart instead of an emotional reaction. Your greatest advantage is no longer what you know. It is the peace with which you carry what you know. Another unexpected figure is about to enter this story. This person has remained in the background, watching everything with patience. They never wanted attention. They simply believed that the right moment would eventually arrive. That moment is now approaching. Their words will not sound dramatic. In fact, they may begin with something so ordinary that you almost overlook it. Yet hidden inside that conversation will be one detail that changes your understanding forever. Suddenly, separate memories will connect. Small incidents that once seemed meaningless will reveal a pattern. The confusion that followed you for so long will finally begin to disappear. You will realize that every unanswered question was leading you toward one complete picture that could only be understood at the right time. As this chapter comes to its close, remember this above everything else. The greatest victory is not exposing someone else's hidden intentions. The greatest victory is refusing to let those intentions change who you are. Your kindness remains your strength, but now it is joined by wisdom. Your trust remains alive, but now it walks beside discernment. This combination cannot easily be shaken.